This episode is brought to you by Box Up Nation, a shop based out of Dallas, Texas that provides you with the best equipment trusted by the pros. Box Up Nation understands finding the right equipment can be extremely difficult if you are new to the equipment scene, but don't worry, they have you covered. Box Up Nation only sells the best high quality equipment on the market, and they carry highest rated brands that you've seen here on the channel, such as Everlast, Hit and Move, Bryant Boxing, Adidas, and much, much more. They even carry brands like Fly that are based in the UK right in stock so they can ship quick to you. If you are looking for a one-stop shop to suit all of your professional boxing equipment needs, look no further than Box Up Nation. Head to boxupnation.com or follow them on their Instagram at boxupnation to see what news they have and what awesome gear and deals they have going on. Thanks to Box Up Nation. Let's get on with the video. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Combat Corporation, your source for combat sports. I'm your host, Al, the Postmaster Morrow, and today I have a gear review on the Sanabul Gold Strike Puffy MMA gloves. Alright guys, as always, I'm excited to bring you yet another gear review, but before I go into that, I just wanted to say thank you so much for 5,000 loyal subscribers. I can't believe that we hit that milestone. I started this channel more for fun because a college counselor of mine said, you know, if you're bored and you want something to keep your mind off things and everything else, maybe you should do something that interests you. I love collecting boxing gloves and combat sport equipment, and I decided to start the YouTube channel. I knew I had a lot of big shoes to fill and a lot of shadow to catch up to with guys like Fit to Box, C Squared, that boxing guy, and everyone else I respect so much in this community. Jordan Miller on YouTube's another name, and same thing for Rate This Gear. All those different guys that reviewed all these things, and I figured I'd get left behind in the dust. And the traction that I picked up so fast and everything else, and the kind words I get in every single video means the world to me, guys. You know, even the not so nice words. I don't use the word haters. I just use critics. And I love being critiqued. I love being able to do this. It's so fun to me because I get to share what I love, and I love this. I love combat sports. It's been my life since I was 12 years old, and it's going to continue to be my life, and be able to share you even just combat sport equipment. The whole point of the channel was that I'm a fighter. I'm actually now a professional fighter, and I'm able to show you what I use every single day in practice. I'm training 6 to 7 days a week, and sometimes twice or 3 times daily. So I'm able to use this stuff to the extent it's supposed to be used for. That way you can understand at any level of how this equipment would work. And I'm so happy that I have a really high positive rate of positive reviews, which is awesome. I've only had 1 or 2 people reach out and say, I didn't like this glove off of your recommendation, but I like this one off your recommendation. There was always a second chance that I got. So I really appreciate that. Continue to like, comment, and subscribe. I really appreciate it. The channel's only going to get stronger from here and better, and it's all because of you. So thank you so much for lifting my spirits up with this channel. It means the world to me. Another thing is you're going to see some sponsors hit the videos. None of them are gear sponsors at all, because that would be a conflict of interest. But I do have my first pro fight coming up. And in the early stages of 2023, I can't release the exact date yet because the poster hasn't been dropped by the organization I'm fighting for. All I can tell you, it will be on UFC Fight Pass, and I'll give all the details. I'll post it to the channel. But none of them are gear sponsors. But here or there, you're going to see a little gear things, not gear thing, a little sponsor thing. So if you don't like sponsors, I'm putting timestamps still anyway. So I'm just giving you a heads up for the next couple of videos. But thank you so much for 5,000 subscribers, guys. Let's get into the gear review. Today we have the Sanabul Gold Strike Puffy MMA gloves. And I'm really excited to do this review because I've had these gloves for a substantial amount of time, for about a year now, getting close to a year, when they were released to the general public. Because at first, these were a professional fighter tested product, which is awesome. That's why I love gloves like Sanabul, because they're used by so many high-end guys. The first place that I saw these were on UFC Embedded, and it was Glover Teixeira doing mitts with these on. And I think it was for his fight against maybe it was either Jan or it might have been, actually it might have been Thiago Santos maybe, or someone else. I can't exactly remember, but he was doing it in the embedded series and he was using these, and they weren't on the website for Sanabul yet. And then I saw the same thing in embedded. I saw Gilbert Burns use these. I saw Michael Chandler, Michael Johnson, all down at Killcliff, which was Sanford at the time, which was once Hard Knocks 365, which was once by Gazillions. They changed the name every 5 minutes. But you know, that's the cool thing that we have with these gloves, is that Sanabul is a very high-end brand, and you're able to kind of get that type of view of who exactly uses their stuff. I've reviewed the Gold Strike boxing gloves, and my final verdict, I think I gave them a solid 7 out of 10. They're a good glove. They're just severely overpriced for what they are. $150 in my opinion, it was just too much. That was my opinion. But they have a lot of big-time athletes backing Sanabul now. You have TJ Dillashaw. Your opinions of him or not, he's still a big-time athlete. Michael Bisping has his own gloves. So does TJ Dillashaw, actually. They both have their own gloves. Sugar Sean O'Malley, who I'm not a fan of, but he still has a bunch of stuff by Sanabul. And also Max Holloway has his own glove on there. Granted, all of the signature gloves on Sanabul, I think, are severely overpriced, but that's a different story. We won't go there. But these gloves, I think, are really, really good. I think Sanabul actually hit the nail on the head with these, and I can't wait to do a review because I think you will agree with me if you decide to go with these gloves. Overall, they're not only a good sparring glove, but a great training glove too, which is something that I was really excited about, because most of the time when you get the big puffy MMA sparring gloves, it's like getting a pair of sparring gloves in boxing. You hit the bag with it, and the foam was only designed for sparring, so it's softer, it breaks apart easier. You don't get that as much with these. And same thing for the big puffy MMA sparring gloves. Like, I know a couple guys use the Combat Sports Max Strike training gloves, and those are like the gold standard, and those don't really fray off all that much, but most people use them for sparring and use other gloves for bag work and stuff. And then people use the Fairtex sparring gloves, and Hypnotic used to be a big company that fizzled out, but these, I see a bunch of guys in the UFC, Bellator, 1FC use these gloves to train in, which is awesome. I can see why after using them for so long. So without further ado, let's go ahead and look into these gloves. And my exact model is, I have the XL model in black and gold colorway. You can get them in white, and I think they go from small, medium, large to extra large. And I think they said that the way the ounces work is extra large is 8 to 9 ounces. Large is 7 ounces, then small medium I think they said 6 to 7 ounces about. So you're getting, that's a standard size sparring glove. It's about the size of an amateur MMA glove. Most amateur MMA gloves are 7 to 8 ounces as well. They're not 4 ounce like professional MMA fight gloves are. So let's go into the look of the glove. And first off, you can tell that the whole entire back of this is black. The entire build of the glove, except for the lettering on it, is black, right down to the Velcro. It's all that nice, it's like a midnight black. It's a darker black than a lot of other black colors that you have with your gloves. Most of them have that nice shiny sheen to it, not these. It actually eats the light really well. I got the lights really bright actually on me, if you can't tell, and it's eating the light right on the glove. So it's not a very shiny glove. It's a very darker, I wouldn't say matte black. It's not shiny. It's like has a type of sheen to it. I don't know how to word that or what word I'm trying to look for. It's like glittery almost in the light. It doesn't look shine, but it just kind of shimmers, I guess is the easiest way to word that, if that makes any sense. But when we talk about the whole glove, it is all black down to the thumb, the palm, the finger guards, all the way to the back of the striking area until you get to the wrist strap where you got your lettering all the way across. But if you look here, it is kind of faded. I would show you the other glove, but it is just about gone on this glove. The light's right on it. But the Sanabul logo, which I forget what language or dialect it was, but Sanabul translates to healing or time of healing or something like that, and that's what you have here in like prosperity, I think, and I think that's what that logo is. It's like an ancient type of language, and that symbol means like healing or something like that. So that's what Sanabul's logo looks like. And then on the back you have Sanabul, which is still pretty well here. It's very much wiped out here, not so much here. So it's Sanabul like right there, and you got a little a little square, which I'm honestly not sure what the square is for, in all honesty. And then it goes all the way there with a line underneath Sanabul. It goes all the way to the back here. Okay, and that says "Fight for it" on the wrist, if you didn't see that. So the glove is a very basic looking glove. If you get the white version, it's the same exact thing. If you saw my review on the Sanabul Gold Strike, the boxing gloves, the white actually, stands out pretty well with the gold. The gold is kind of eaten by the black a little bit here, but that's the one thing I'll say about the. I don't know if it's necessarily painted on. I don't think it was screen printed on, because usually screen printing would fade off. It wouldn't look like paint wearing off or like markers wearing off. It would look like it was chipping away the whole thing. And so I think it might have been a type of like screen paint or something like that on this, but I'm not too sure. But when we talk about the build of the glove, we have the entire shell, the outer shell, every part of it except for the palm is made out of a really tough, durable, engineered leather. And it's actually a pretty thick engineered leather. As you can see, there's a good chunk of hide there, and it's stretched out. So Sanabul did that right, because when you have a material stretched out so tight over the padding, it tends to make the padding really hard, and you don't have that here. It's actually a nice soft padding, so it is good for sparring in that sense because of how soft that padding is. So you got that engineered leather, which has like the nice little grain marks and everything like that, and the idea of those little grooves is so when you go to pull or tear it, those grooves are there, so it's naturally going in those directions, so it won't rip. I'm trying here, it won't rip if you do that, which is good. So it's a nice thick engineered leather all the way throughout the wrist strap, all the way throughout the back of the palm, and the back of the palm technically, the back of the hand, and the wrist, the thumb, everywhere is that nice strong engineered leather, and it feels good. It's a supple engineered leather too. It's a very soft leather, engineered leather. Then on the inside, they call it like a it's like a Durafoam, like anti-shock padding, they call it, something along those lines, and it gives it this big fancy name. It's kind of like the same thing they said with their Gold Strike boxing gloves, which it does feel pretty similar in padding to that. It's just a multi-layered foam. It's a high-density multi-layered foam, and it is a soft foam, and it's nice and cradled, and it honestly bounces back really quick. It's not latex, I can tell you that much. I wish it was. I wish an MMA sparring glove or an MMA glove used latex for once, but these are just really soft. It feels like more of a softer memory foam type feel, and it does have that nice cradling feel. So they are a really nice soft striking surface right there, so when you punch, it covers you. The other nice thing about it is that the padding goes all the way down here. Then you have a separate hinge for gripping like this, and then you have your wrist splint right on the back there. So if I take the Velcro off there, you can see you have a nice big wrist splint that actually prevents your wrist, and it's a bit of a stiffer foam. It feels like rubber, honestly, and it's on the back of your wrist. So when your hand's in, it's very hard to crease this back uncomfortably, and same thing creasing down. You can see I can't just fold that in. It literally won't let me if I try this again, because Sanabul did it right. And good gloves will have a separate part for your hand to punch, and then the separate part of the wrist to keep it nice and stable. So the wrist support is really good. So you got that nice rubberized patch right here on the back that supports your wrist, and then you have another rubberized patch at the bottom to brace the bottom part of your wrist too, which is nice. And it's that same exact feel. The Velcro is not weak per se. It's a pretty decent Velcro, and it has a really nice sleeve. Some gloves really screw up and they get a metal part here to go through the loop. But as you can see, you got a lot of room to fit your hand in. Say you wrap your hands up big, which it has plenty of room for that. And then you put your glove in. I love that it opens up. For me, the best MMA glove design is when you can have something like this. I don't like having the weird strap in the center and having a third-party thing. This loop right here saves me so much time. Now, there is obviously, you can tell there's like metal or something on the inside here that's covered by the material, because it is really hard right there. And that's what a lot of people do, but it's covered so well. Some gloves like the Fly MMA gloves I was going to review, but the gloves are ruined now because, it popped out, the metal part popped out and it was all rusted, which is a terrible design. I prefer when gloves just have a little loop without the metal on the inside here, but it's really easy to just pop it right through like this, and you're all good to go. The only thing is, and it's kind of a design error on their end, is that you can see this little patch right here. The Velcro patch was not stitched down very well on that side. And I was thinking, well, maybe it's just one glove, but then almost simultaneously, it happened over here too on this glove right here. So you can see both gloves don't have the strongest Velcro here. Another little tiny design flaw that I noticed is when you want to strap this down tight, right? At first, it goes here, right? And I should probably fit my thumb in, duh. It goes through here just fine and it rests over the Velcro, but the more and more you use it, now it's snug on my hand right now, and you can see if I put my hand in here and pulling it to the side, I can fit 2 of my fingers there, which is about the amount of padding you want. So if you ever want to try and pad your knuckles with the MMA glove, take 2 of your fingers, put them in over your knuckles, and then ball your fist. That's about the most padding you want in an MMA glove. If you can fit 3, that's awesome for you. I can fit 3, so there's plenty of room to wrap your hands big with these gloves for hard time sparring, which is great. But the only thing is that the glove does kind of get loose on your wrist. Even when you wrap your hands like that, it does get loose on your wrist. And if I just do this a couple times, now it's like if I want to go restrap it because it's loose, I just pull this more. Now the Velcro overlaps, which is never good. It's very easy to overlap the Velcro here. Granted, if you're sparring guys and doing like hard sparring, you don't want to scrape people with the Velcro. You just tape around the wrist and that fixes it. Most times when you do hard sparring in boxing or in MMA, what you're going to do is you're just going to tape anyway, so you get rid of the Velcro cuts or Velcro burn. But that's probably the one design flaw that I would go with the wrist cuff. It feels really comfortable. It's very easy to open and close my hand. And if I put the other one on, their grips are really easy too. You know, the only grip that's hard, obviously, with most MMA sparring gloves is like your knuckle grip, I call it. When you try and just, you know, do that, you can't really do it. But your S grips are really good, or your 8-finger grips, whatever you want to call it. Those are really easy. Your gable grips, your palm-to-palm grip, your bar grip or butterfly grip, all really, really good within this glove. It's a very versatile glove. It's very easy to grip in these gloves. It doesn't prevent me from opening at all. So if you like to parry punches and everything else like that, and especially once again, look how big they are. You know, it's good to peek your head out, keep it good. Even if you have your knuckles glued to your temple, you can still see out the corner of your eye pretty well if you just kind of fan your thumbs out a little bit. So overall, it's a nice protective glove. The other thing I would say is the lining is just your basic nylon lining. It's not the best lining. It doesn't feel rough or rugged. It feels decent. It's kind of like that dry fit material almost. The only thing I'll say about it is it absorbs sweat bad. I don't like that it absorbs sweat all that great. You know, it absorbs way too much into the padding itself. And as you can see, I do have a little bubbling here. But overall, I mean, all you gotta do is just make sure you're cleaning your products and it'll be good. You know, but it does kind of hold moisture and it takes a while to dry out. And it does stink really easy after a while, whether you wear hand wraps or not, which is frustrating. But that's a different story. So, without further ado, let's go to the bag work and the sparring view, and you can see me grip some stuff, and then we'll do the final verdict of these gloves.
So big thing about using these gloves on the bags is that they're actually really light on your hands and you can let your hands fly. They're also like one of those MMA sparring gloves that not only have a good grip, but they have a superb protection. And I love that about that. Over my knuckles, my wrist, everything feels nice and snug, and I can really lay into the bag and not worry about my hands, my wrist, or anything getting injured. I can wrestle really easy and get decent grips with these. I really like using these on the bags just as much as I do for sparring, and the padding that it comes with really calls for that to happen, which is great. So you can use these for really anything you want when it comes to training. They're honestly a really nice feeling bag mitt. I prefer these to some other bag mitts that are actually on the market right now. So overall, bag work with these are really, really fun. So overall, the gloves look fairly basic. They look just like black gloves that you can get decent grips with, as I'm showing you your S grip, gable grip, wrist grips, everything like that. But you know, getting that basket grip is really hard. But overall, I mean, these gloves don't really stand out like anything else. I feel like if you got the white ones, a lot of people would think differently. They do kind of look like your generic MMA glove, and you can also see that there really is no logo on the front. The logo wears off pretty bad. You can see the other gold lettering, but overall, I still think you'll enjoy getting hit punched in the face with these gloves, as they are black and stylish.
All right, so my final verdict for the Sanabul Gold Strike Puffy MMA gloves is Sanabul did a phenomenal job with creating a great overall training glove, not just a sparring glove. This is a great overall MMA training glove because honestly, I hit the bags with these. They provide excellent knuckle protection. They provide excellent wrist support. They provide great safety for me and my sparring partner whenever we do stuff like that. And that's the one thing that I think Sanabul nailed with these. Obviously, there are some like quality control flaws I would go with, but they might have been fixed by now. And really all that stems down to is you have that little Velcro patch that puffs right out. And the other thing is it's very easy for the Velcro to overlap like that, and you can cut and scrape your partner. So I mean, that's a nitpicky thing. That, and like I said, when you spar guys, most of the time, if you just want to be safe and avoid that, my recommendation is just get 1.5 inch tape from like Walgreens or something and just tape, athletic tape, and just tape it down, or even duct tape and just tape your wrist down. That way you avoid that and it stays on for your entire sparring session because these gloves do get loose. Even with tape, honestly, they do get a little loose around the wrist. So that's something that I wouldn't be too necessarily thrilled with, but they're not bad at all. I love hitting the bags with these, like I said. They're very comfortable. I love sparring with these. The grips is honestly what shocked me. The only thing is with most MMA sparring gloves, because they cup over that finger so easy, you can't really, I call it the knuckle grip because you're folding over your knuckles like this, or some people call it the basket grip. I usually don't even use the basket grip, but I know some people do. And when you do this, you can't really do that in these gloves because it overhangs your fingers so much. There's no room for your hands to go. So I say, if you want to do your fold grip, or if you want to do your S grips, your 8-finger grips, your wrists, butterfly or bar grip, whatever you want to call it, gable grips or palm-to-palm grip, whatever you'd like to call it. Everyone has so many different names for grips. Those are very easy in these gloves, whereas this is not. That's just the case with most, even regular MMA gloves, because your fingers don't have anywhere to go. It's all leather and material there. Overall, the outer shell is incredibly durable. That's the one thing that I like about it. Is that the outer shell is soft, it's loose over the padding, and the padding is really durable too. It's a bunch of, it's multi-layered foam, if I had to guess. It's very soft multi-layered foam, feels like a memory foam that they used on the inside of this. They call it like the DuraShock foam or something like that. And when they were doing that, I think their whole idea behind it was to have like a decent shot that had so much padding, because you got a good 2.5 inches of padding right there. It's a thick glove, you know what I mean? It's as thick as most boxing gloves out there, sparring gloves, which is nice. It's not as big. It's very, very light. That's the other thing, is that for an MMA sparring glove, and they do weigh right on the money, but it is a very, very light glove. So you get that nice fight glove feel, because fight gloves feel like there's nothing on your hand at all. Whereas this, it's the same thing, nothing on your hand with the added padding to it. So that is an added bonus and a nice plus for these gloves. So I absolutely love that Sanabul did that. Also, I love that they do the smart thing and they separate the knuckles from the wrist in this glove, so you can grip separately. If it's all in one thing, it's going to pull the entire glove with you, and that's going to make it uncomfortable, and it's going to make you really indecisive if you want to grip or punch, because you basically have to decide between the two. You can do whatever you want really easy. The other thing is, I guess if you are more of a jiu-jitsu guy, they are big and puffy, and I will say that obviously getting things like Darce grips, if you like shooting under the arms, or you like your gator rolls or your anaconda chokes, stuff like that, it is a little bit difficult, because if a guy's really playing tight and like turtle, or really trying to shove your arm away, something like that, and they're keeping their elbows in like they should, getting underhooks and overhooks on the mat can be hard, and wrestling with these can be hard sometimes. But they are definitely not the worst, because they are at least contoured flat enough to where you can still shoot right underneath arms and over arms, through legs, under knees, around the head, and around the neck. I will say guillotines can be hard because of how padded it is, and if you like using like that part of your wrist or your thumb or something like that and lifting up like this, it is a little hard to get like that little tight front choke you can get, because of how padded the back of the glove is. But overall, it's still, like you're not looking to kill everyone in the training room. But it's really just the quality control that I would worry about, is that obviously, like you can even see here, some stitchings coming out towards the bottom. I just pulled it out right on camera for you. Some stitchings coming out towards the bottom and around the Velcro patch. So maybe if that starts to rip off, I would just, you know, I don't think super glue would do it, but maybe try and stitch it in, or maybe try and do something else, or maybe try and tape a new Velcro thing to it, or just send a message to Sanabul and say, hey, this happened. What do you recommend? Stuff like that. Sanabul actually has a really good customer service line, which is nice, and everything else. And I think they have one of those things when you go to their website, you can talk to someone 24/7. You know, it's like a sales rep or something. But really, that's it. It's just a quality control thing. Like, obviously, you know, you got the paint fading on the glove, which can be annoying for some. But I mean, the glove still does its job, protects you very well. So I wouldn't complain about that. The other thing I worry about is I would never want the metal part here to fly out, because if it does, I worry that's going to rust and ruin the glove. So just make sure you're watching that part at all times. But it's been about a year and there's no sign of it puffing out or doing anything like that. Sanabul did a pretty good job of hiding that. Very comfortable, easy to open and close. Overall, guys, I'd have to give these gloves a solid, I'd say 10 out of 10 for most. And if not 9 out of 10, and the only reason 9 out of 10 is because that overlapping Velcro strap might annoy people. It might cut people. You don't want that. But guys, if you're sparring at a high enough level for these, you know, you're going to tape it anyway. I also think the price point for it is perfect. $100 for a glove like this is honestly right up the alley there for what it does, what it's worth, for who it's meant for. It's meant for a professional MMA sparring gloves, or high-end amateur MMA sparring gloves. I think these are very good. I recommend them to a lot of my teammates. One of my teammates actually bought a pair after I did, and he says the same thing. They're the best gloves he's used. They're also great because you can hit bags with them, you can hit pads with these, you can spar with these. They are a great overall training glove. I would put them in a training glove category. There's only one piece of bubbling on these gloves, and it's right there at the tip. And it's such a small thing, I'm not even going to worry about it. I don't think the rest of the glove is going to fall apart anytime soon. I think it's going to last you a long, long time. I can see you using these every single day, probably for about 2 to 3 years, depending on how hard you're going and if you're taking care of them. They're synthetic leather, so it's easy. Just wipe them down with disinfectant disinfectant wipes and spray, you know, and just make sure that they're dry. And at the end of the day, I think they'll last you a good 2 to 3 years. But overall, knuckle protection is amazing. Wrist support is amazing with those rubberized patches on the back to stabilize your wrist from going up or down, side to side. They're very flexible, great for clinching, great for wrestling and grappling. Sometimes it might get in the way of things, but most Puffy MMA sparring gloves do, so I can't give them fault for that at all. So with that said, guys, like I said, I give them a solid 10 out of 10. They are a great MMA sparring glove. I think the price point is perfect for these, for what they are. I think their boxing gloves are still overpriced. I think those should be brought down to about the same expense as this, because I honestly think these provide better wrist support and protection than the boxing gloves do. So that's my message to Sanabul, I guess. But they did a phenomenal job with these. If you're looking for a great MMA sparring glove, I wouldn't look any further. I'd start looking for these if you're at that high level. It's between these, the Pro Strikes, obviously the Asamis that I love, but Sanabul did a phenomenal job with these. All right, folks, with that said, I'm Al Morrow with the Combat Corporation. Thanks for choosing your source for combat sports. Thank you so much for the 5,000 subscribers. Let's start the road to 6, and we'll keep growing and growing and growing. Instructional will be coming out soon, hopefully. Just need to sit down and record it with someone, and then we'll be all set to go. All right, folks, like, comment, and subscribe. Smash that subscribe button. Let me know what you want me to review in the comments below. Message me on Instagram. My TikTok's starting to get a little bit more active, and I'm also starting to post shorts on YouTube as well. So make sure you keep up with everything there. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you on the next episode. Have a good one, guys.